What's up, you guys? Welcome back to Wide Body Nation. I've got a couple C8 updates for you, a new time slip, a new personal best, and then also some bad news, and then just kind of a word of advice for you C8 owners out there. It doesn't matter if you're a completely stock C8, or if you're like a full bolt-on C8, or if you're a twin turbo or supercharged C8. So with that being said, I started the video in the garage because it's super windy out today. We're gonna jump into the new 36-foot trailer that has the C8 in it. You might be able to see those turbos peeking in there. Probably not on camera. We've got the Ram 3500 on those new Toyos, and we've got the STI S209, which I need to roll those back fenders really bad. I'll show you guys at the end of the video. And obviously the crashed Toyota Supra. So while we're walking through the wind, quick reminder to turn that red subscribe button to gray and comment down below if you have any questions, comments, concerns on the C8 Corvette or on the truck or on the Subaru, whatever it may be. So if you guys are new to the channel, this is our 2020 C8 Corvette. Originally it was a Z51 model, but that doesn't really matter anymore because I've basically taken everything that was a Z51 off of it and replaced it with turbos, new brakes, yada 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 yada. So with that being said, obviously we got our two precision turbos, 64, 66s out back. I do have headers on this car. There's a few other things on the car that you guys can see. Since you guys might be new to the channel, let me just pop the rear deck lid for you. Got plenty of fun stuff going on. So we have the Paragon Performance strut tower bars. Super underrated mod. I would highly recommend those. And then we have the Stainless Works headers and some other engine dress up stuff going on, carbon fiber strut towers, etc., etc. So let's see, I'm going to talk about the problem first that we're running into, because the problem that we had at the track last night after I set the personal best in the 8th mile is the same problem I had before, just a tiny bit different. But, you know, Cicio Performance is the one who built the car. The kit is Extreme Turbo Systems produced with precision turbos as the turbos that I selected for mine. Cicio Performance installs and tunes it, and they warranty their work with a 1-year warranty, and that's for track or street use, which I have definitely put this to track and street use of all the various driving conditions, hot and cold so far. So the problem that we were having yesterday at the track was that, so I made the first pass fine, and I hot lapped it. So I brought it back to the staging lanes, sat there for about 10 minutes, turned the car off for a few minutes, and then turned it back on, did another hit, and that's when I did the personal best, which I have the time slip in my pocket, and I will show you guys soon. I brought it back to the pits, and that's when I noticed it started leaking oil when I let the car idle down for a few minutes, because it does have that air to water intercooler up there, which I'll show you guys later. So I had a big oil pool right here, probably half a quart or so, and I was freaking out because it's never leaked oil right under the rear wheel before. It's always leaked oil right here with this scavenge pump. So there's a scavenge pump right here, and then there's a breather up here. This breather right here. And that is what had oil coming out of it when the car was just sitting there idling and I was getting ready to race. Because I was actually taking some air out of the rear tires and I was pumping up the front tires to like almost max PSI to imitate being skinnies, you know, lower that rolling resistance, etc., etc. So long story short is something about this scavenge pump and this oil breather up here is not able to keep up with the demand, with the oil pressure or oil volume or whatever it may be that these turbos are pulling from the dry sump system that's in the C8. So I don't really know if it's a bad pump or maybe there's some sort of electrical circuit that gets jostled when I do the launch or something like that, because I do have footage of this turbo kit when I do launch it, and it is rather violent. even though it is actually a hard mounted kit, both to exhaust hangers, which you can see the exhaust hangers up there, and it's also hard mounted to the chassis, which you can see up there as well. So, you know, hard to say, but since it's the second time it's happened, I believe Cicio is just going to replace this setup right here. I don't know where they're going to put the breather. They're going to keep it there, or kind of what they're going to do with it. But, you know, they're the experts, so I'm going to let them take care of it. Now, before we talk time slips, this will also give them an opportunity to install the transmission module that they just came out with Dodson. So Dodson is obviously a transmission focused company. They do clutches for all the big supercars, R8s, Lambos, C8 Corvettes, and a lot of other cars. This car does have the Dodson upgraded clutches in it as well. And so Dodson came out with a controller that you splice into the wiring system of the car that allows you to actually increase transmission line pressure by 5, 10, or 15%. Now, that doesn't sound like a ton, but when you have the upgraded clutches, that 15% is all you really need, from what I understand, to really seal the deal on launches and then also on the top end of shifts. Because as you guys might have seen in some of my footage, I know I haven't put a ton out on YouTube, but in some of my footage when I review it, it looks like the car is a little bit hesitant to shift up top. And I know for a fact that down low, the tuners have not been able to use that MoTec to give me full boost in first, second, and third gear, because up until this point, the clutch pressure just wasn't enough to hold full boost up until potentially this point. So I'm hoping that we can get a retune with this new clutch mod or this new transmission module that will help us actually achieve full boost a lot sooner, because when I'm racing right now, the car seems more like stock in first gear and second gear, and then it like wakes up in third gear, and then in fourth gear it's like a whole different car and it's just screaming. So it's kind of weird. Obviously this is a brand new platform, so we have a lot to learn on it, and by we I mean kind of the whole community in general. But you know, generally speaking, it's been a good experience so far. I've put over 1,500 miles on the twin turbo setup. The car has a little over 11,000 miles on it, and I've put about 1,500 or more now on the twin turbo setup. Got the Forge Line wheels on there from when we were racing, and that is another video I'll have to talk about, kind of the wheel ratio and stuff like that. So as far as settings go, real quick, for how I got my best time. So let me pull out the time slip. I'm gonna close the rear deck lid for you guys, and then we can look at the time slip real quick. All right, so like I said, it was just an 1/8 mile. We'll just crumple it up real quick so it'll stay flat. So long story short, 6.77 at 106 in the 1/8. Is it amazing? No. Is it better than what I had before, which was like a 6.8? Yes. That 60 foot is rather slow for what I would like that to be down in the 1.4s or the 1.5s. Obviously that would help me make up a ton of time, but you know, the 1.6 60 foot running a 6.7 at 106, obviously we'd like to get that up towards, you know, running like a 6.5 at 110 or so that we could be more in the 9-second conversation. Now, the settings that I use to achieve that time, I can show you guys real quick without even turning the car on. So, I've got our racing gear, fire extinguisher, etc. Now, my fastest results have been in, they've been in ESC Competitive Mode, which is not traction control and ESC all the way off. It is ESC Competitive Mode. So, after you guys do your burnout, when traction control is all the way off, which you achieve traction control all the way off by pressing 1 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That would do traction control all the way off. Press and then hold. ESC Competitive Mode is press, press. That will come up with ESC Competitive Mode. Now, The problem I've been having with ESC Competitive Mode is that it has been missing shifts. Now, whether that is because I don't have that trans module, or whether it's driver error, or whether it's the ratio of my 20-inch front wheels and my 18-inch rear wheels, which I'm getting fixed. I got to kind of do a whole nother analysis of that. But regardless, it's in drive, it's in ESC Competitive Mode because that's the only way you can do launch control. And then I tap the manual button because that stays on for about 30 seconds, which is plenty of time to stage and engage launch control. And then that seemed to allow me to either shift myself out of it, because that first to second shift was what was killing me. So I shifted on my personal best time. I actually shifted the first gear. So from first to second, I shifted, and then the car took care of second to third and third to fourth, because we were only going 8th mile. So I believe I finished 8th mile in 4th gear from what I understand. So just a little bit of the mode. I know my last video was talking about the modes and stuff like that. So this time, to get my best time I've ever gotten, I did drive, obviously, and then did my burnout with everything off, and then turned everything back on, and then did tap ESC Competitive Mode, and then I did, right before I stage with the first bulb, I would tap manual, and then I was in manual mode, so the car was ready for me to hang that shift after the launch. Now, this car is an 8-speed dual clutch, so it does take some pretty decent like focus as far as getting that shift at the right spot, because it runs through the gears very fast. So is it the fastest way to do it? Bar none. I would say if you have a stock C8 or a full bolt-on C8, I would say let the car do the work. Just do ESC Competitive Mode. Make sure you have a good set of wheels and tires on, because those wheels from the factory are really heavy. And then let the car do its thing. All right, so obviously we got a 36-foot trailer here. Plenty of stuff, got 2 spare tires, but I guess that kind of brings me to my point I kind of wanted to end the video with, which is, you know, when you have a car that's this modified, even with a super reputable shop, with super reputable manufacturers, you know, like Cicio Performance built this, Extreme Turbo Systems fabricated the kit, and I got a lot of big names on this car, right? And it's a very flashy car. So, you know, just because you pay a lot of money, or someone pays a lot of money to modify their car or your car or whatever it may be, doesn't mean it's not immune to, you know, little problems, big problems, or in some cases, little problems that can become big problems. So, for instance, you know, a lot of these Corvettes that, you know, I see Corvette owners who have completely stock C8s have problems that I've never heard before, or that are severe problems. And then I also have had my own set of problems with the brakes on this car, and that's just kind of the nature of the beast. So even if you guys are paying very reputable shops to do the work, I highly recommend treating your car like a race car. So like, I make sure the AN fittings on here for the secondary fuel system, I make sure those are, you know, I make sure those are tight periodically. I come in here, I make sure there's no exhaust leaks. I make sure, generally speaking, bolts are tight. I make sure, you know, hose clamps and everything like that are just where they should be. Now, I'm not a mechanic, but I do have ears, and I do have a brain, I have eyes. So like, most of the problems that you're going to run into with these cars might just be little problems, but if you don't at least pop the hood and check it out looking for problems, I would say every time you drive the car basically, then you could be leaving yourself exposed to making that problem get a whole lot worse. So, you know, I've learned a lot with this car up to this point, and I'm sure I will continue to learn, but just kind of a word to all you guys with cool cars, especially with C8s out there, whether you have a completely bone stock C8, or whether you have a full bolt-on C8, or whether you have, you know, a twin turbo C8 like this one, or even like, you know, a boosted C8, a supercharged C8, whatever it may be. Just keep that in mind. You know, like, you got to check your car over unless you want your car to just eat itself alive, especially if it's just a small problem. Like this oiling thing, I know it sounds bad, but it's really not a huge problem because I catch it early. And so, yeah, it pukes maybe a half a quart of oil. I just top it off, get it back to the shop. They do a full oil change, they troubleshoot it, and then we move on. So if I didn't notice it, not only would I have oiled down the track, I might have lost so much oil that the car would have started seizing up. And you can see how these problems can snowball. So something that seems like a big deal, it's better to catch it on the front end, whether it's oiling, fueling, wheels, tires, transmission, whatever it may be. So appreciate you guys tuning in. We're gonna jump out of the trailer. Again, this is our new 36-foot enclosed trailer. Is it the nicest trailer ever? No, but it is quite big, gets the job done. It can haul the C8 and the S209 at the same time with this here workhorse of a truck, the Ram Dually 3500 high output. Pretty good truck on those Toyos right here. I will have to put some content out of me doing a fender roll, because as you guys can see, we've got a lot of rub going on here, and that is because this exact spot right here on the fender decided that that's where it was going to rub. So now I know where it's rubbing. I can actually go ahead and, yeah, like this is getting a little bit out of hand here, but it's kind of the nature of the beast when you do aftermarket wheels and tires. And Supra is still there. Hopefully that'll be gone by the end of 2022. So appreciate you guys tuning in. Sorry for the wind noise in the video if there was some. Make sure you guys subscribe down below. Hit me up with your questions, comments, concerns. The C8's probably gonna be off the channel for the next few weeks or a month or so, just because I gotta go get that upgraded transmission module, and then it also needs the oiling system kind of figured out, troubleshooted, however you want to put that. So expect some more Subaru videos, expect some more car buying videos, maybe some trailer videos, but appreciate you guys tuning in. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you for the next video.
Yeah, you can pin it all the way. Yep.